On the hunt for comfortable, timeless Western boots? You already know the best place to shop for quality boots is at your local Tecova store. So stop by Tecovas Nashville at the Mall at Green Hills or on Broadway by Ryman Auditorium. That's right, you now have 2 locations to choose from. Grab a cold one as you shop and get fitted by a pro. Tecovas Nashville is at your service, and you can find your perfectly fitted dream boots with the help of their expert staff. Everyone will be asking where you got your sick new boots, but I won't be asking because I know they must be Tecovas. That's TECOVAS.com. Don't go gently, y'all.
Today on CityCast Nashville, we're so excited to welcome back contributor Jen Harbin, aka The Hungry Loner on Instagram. Each month after tasting her way through our city, Jen puts together a must-read article for us on Nashville's latest bar and restaurant openings, available on our website at nashville.citycast.fm. Today, we're bringing her article to life and talking about her favorite new spots from this month, and I've got to say, you're going to be completely blown away. From the opening of Mais de la Vida to a nostalgic new bar under Basement East, Nashville's food and bar scene is really going off these days, and I can't wait for Jen to tell us all about it. CityCast Nashville is presented by our exclusive launch sponsor, Tecovas. It's Monday, October 28th. I'm Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Jen, I have been looking forward to talking to you about the most highly anticipated restaurant opening of the year, Mais de la Vida. Can you tell us about their humble beginnings?
Absolutely. I'm equally excited for them as well. Chef Julio Hernandez actually started his business originally during the pandemic, making handmade tortillas using a stimulus check to actually launch his business from his garage. And that progressed to opening a food truck outside of Chopper Chiqui, which you may or may not have been, but it's phenomenal.
I have been going to the truck for quite some time now and have been very excited about this actual opening. And I am curious, what is the vibe there? Because the truck in itself is a vibe, you know? So what's the vibe at this new restaurant? What's the cocktails? What music was playing? Just set the stage for us.
So I actually went recently for dinner. I've been for lunch and dinner. And, so dinner time is definitely lively. There's a lot of different types of seating. So they have a chef's counter, a bar, quite a few communal tables and booths, and then standard just tables. So there's just a lot of variety of people who are there for different occasions, whether it's, a group of people, friends, or a date night, or just, other foodies. So it's very lively. I can't honestly remember the music that was playing, but I just remember the atmosphere there was so much, honestly, from just hearing people talk and the sound of the kitchen, which is also an open kitchen.
Oh, I love an open kitchen.
I do too. And the cocktails are great. They have, your classics like a margarita, a spicy version, Paloma. But then they also have a drink I didn't get to try, but I want to try. It's called the Salmoncito, which is made with gin, rosé cava. And then they have something called the Coastal Cuban made with rum. And so they're pretty extensive, I think, cocktail menu as well.
And so they serve totally different dishes at the brick and mortar versus their taco truck?
So they have more of an, I would say, an expanded menu.
Oh, okay.
They do have, the quesadilla tacos and a few other versions of tacos. Also, I think they have carne asada and shrimp at the brick and mortar restaurant as well.
Ooh.
But they also have, I would say, more entree style of dishes. So duck mole negro, which is phenomenal. I honestly love their mole quite a bit. So I highly recommend getting that. They have a few dishes with it. So I highly recommend if you go there to try their mole. It's really good.
Are they going to keep their food truck? Dear God, please.
Yes. Please don't get rid of the food truck.
Please don't get rid of the food truck. I have a friend who lives a couple blocks away. So we always go there to my friend's house for cocktails, place our order, walk down. It's like a whole night. It's so fun. So I really hope that the truck stays.
So from my understanding, yes, I've seen them post on social that their plan is to keep the truck. I think they're really proud of the neighborhood, destination that they've created there, for locals and visitors. So my understanding is yes, they're still keeping it.
Okay. So. Good.
I know.
Parking questions are always so boring, but in Nashville, you just have to ask. I went to Two Hands, and they actually validated your parking for 2.5 hours, which I think is just right next door, a couple blocks down. Do they do the same thing? Do they validate?
Yes, they do. And I did not know that the first time. So I actually,
oh, dang it.
yeah. So I had to play a bit of, parking roulette or whatever you want to call it, trying to figure out where to park so it doesn't cost me a fortune. But yes, they actually do validate parking. It's a Metropolis, which I think really owns almost every parking lot in Nashville.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. So we can get our parking validated. That's so important. All right, on to the next. So I have to admit, another coffee shop in Nashville kind of bummed me out. But not this place. I mean, Cafe Babu. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Cafe Babu just opened, and it truly looks like a chiseled cave of wonders.
Yes.
It's like a rock formation of sorts. How does Cafe Babu stand out from all the other coffee shops in Nashville?
Great question. So I went when they first opened, and I too saw, just the design of this place. And I was like, I have to go and just experience and see what it's like. It's stunning inside. It really is. It is otherworldly. I could describe it as. I think what makes it stand out is a lot of coffee shops in Nashville. It's more about, kind of the morning, like get in, get out, get your kind of, I feel like Americans specifically rush breakfast and mornings just based on kind of the culture. But this, Cafe Babu, I think really does invite you to, have a slow morning and, maybe have a long conversation about, or maybe read a book or journal. I think the environment really does evoke more of a slow morning, which I really love. I had the latte, which was phenomenal. Baklava also is incredible. So,
so it has like a European flair to it?
It does have a European flair. The owners, represent India and Greece as part of their backgrounds. And so I think they really channel that into what they've created there.
Yeah, I saw a cappuccino the Greek way on the menu. Do you know what that means exactly? I'm actually going to Greece soon, so I want to know.
Yes. Oh, we'll have to catch up about that because it's been on my list for a while.
Oh, I've been staying up late watching all types of YouTube videos on where to eat. I'll tell you all about it.
Absolutely. You have to give me some recommendations when you're back.
Yeah. But what the heck is a cappuccino the Greek way?
From what I know, which, I'll say is limited, I think the difference is you have your traditional cappuccino, but the twist or what's inspired by Greek culture is it's a slightly stronger coffee base, like probably like dark roasted Greek coffee or espresso. And then the creamy frothed milk is typically, I think, a bit thicker and creamier foam than you would find traditionally.
That sounds delicious.
It does, yes.
As a professional foodie, I am curious, what is your go-to coffee order?
Oh, because I'm more of a foodie, I do like to experiment quite a bit.
Oh.
So typically my go-to is any type of latte. I also find that at most cafes, that's where they experiment themselves or have different variations of lattes. So I typically try to find a seasonal drink to try that's more signature to that particular coffee shop. And then the summertime, I love an espresso tonic.
Ooh,
yes.
Espresso tonic?
Yes, I love those. Have you had one?
No, I've had lots of espresso martinis, but this is not that, I gather.
No, it's espresso and then tonic, of course, but then they have usually some variation of, like citrus or just a different type of flavor to enhance it, along with, something sweet, like a, simple syrup or something that they add.
Oh, I think actually now that you mentioned, I did try one at Crema.
Yes. Oh, theirs is great.
Yes. It was. I took a sip of my friend's because same thing. I was like, "What the heck are you drinking over there?" And it was like an orange citrusy flavor.
Yes, I love theirs. Yes.
Oh, it was outstanding. Mm-hmm. Oh, amazing. Do you have a favorite coffee shop in Nashville?
I do. So I love Elegy.
Oh, me too.
Much. Yes,
actually.
I find their different seasonal drink variations are just phenomenal. They're so creative and fun. They also have a killer vegan burrito.
I have tried that. I like their other one with the black beans and sweet potato with the full cheese.
Yes.
Their breakfast burritos are really. I try to go to yoga or do some sort of workout on Saturdays, and then I always swing by and get a breakfast burrito from there because it is a great way to start the weekend.
Absolutely.
More of Nashville's best new restaurants after the break.
All right, moving down your article onto, we have a new bar in East Nashville called Low Bar.
Low Bar, yes.
Brought to us by Mike Grimes and Dave Brown. Can you tell us about these guys and why they might know a thing or two about the music scene in Nashville?
Absolutely. So Low Bar is owned by Dave Brown and Mike Grimes, who also co-own The Basement. Basement East. There's a history and, quite an extensive background in music here in Nashville. So I think that just pulling from that, and also being that this is directly below the Basement East, it's the perfect segue into opening a bar. And also the space was designed by the team behind Rosemary and Beauty Queen. So it's got a really fun vibe to it. I actually went recently, and it's a really, really fun place. It kind of reminds me of old Nashville a little bit.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
And then in your article, you said that if you have a ticket to a show there, you can go into a separate entrance? You
can, yes. So the doors of the main venue open, I believe, usually at 7. And so ticket holders can actually go through the rear entrance.
VIP.
That's right.
I love that. And so you also described the bar has a vibe of Saturday Night Fever and Cheers, which Cheers is my absolute favorite television show ever made.
Oh, I love that.
So what about this place made you think of those for examples?
Yeah, well, I actually did research, and that's actually how Mike Grimes described it. Now, having visited there and that description, it really does embody both of those experiences. In terms of design inside, there's photos of 5 Points over the years. So there's just a history and this kind of nostalgia vibe to it. But then the design itself is stained glass and red lanterns and neon. And then the music is just fun and has kind of a retro vibe to it. So I think it is the perfect culmination of Saturday Night Fever and Cheers. It really does. It really does speak to that.
And it's quite large. Is that right?
It's massive.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's, I think, 4,500 square feet.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay. So probably great for a birthday party or a group gathering.
Very, very much. And it really adds to the space. I mean, literally and figuratively. It's a great place. I had an old-fashioned, which was good. Really good. And the back area has a karaoke room. So you can actually go do karaoke yourself, of course, or just watch, which is what I did. And it was very entertaining.
Ooh, that's so fun.
It was fun.
I love a large bar over in that particular area. Because, I mean, I don't mind walking. I mean, it's still in 5 Points, but to have a large place where you can meet several friends is perfect for that location. So
definitely.
What fun.
Very fun.
All right. You also wrote this month about Tosh Tea, a new family-owned Kurdish and Turkish restaurant. Can you tell me about the family behind this new spot?
Yes. So I actually got to meet one of the brothers, who was one of the owners, Adam. And he shared a bit more about his family. So they're a Kurdish family from Turkey, and they actually grew up on a self-sustaining farm. So they learned, traditional skills and really just value family as a culture. They moved to Nashville actually in 2018 due to political discrimination. Nashville actually has the largest, I don't know if you know this, Kurdish population in the U.S. I think it's over 20,000 Kurdish people who live here. And so Tosh Tea is really inspired by hosting Kurdish-style breakfasts for friends. So they opened it this year, and the cafe really just blends, traditional and modern elements and demonstrates their strong family bond and cultural pride.
Well, yeah, I was not very familiar with this large breakfast type platter that it seems that they serve there, but you made this exquisite video for your Instagram.
Thank you.
That really does capture kind of It felt like a group should be gathering there, a community of friends to gather around and share a meal together. So you did such an amazing job capturing kind of this essence that they have there. How do you go about making something like that? Do you talk to the restaurant first or the owners first?
I typically actually just go. I don't really contact the owners every time because I really do want to experience what it's like for just anyone and be able to be inspired and share what it's actually like. So Tosh Tea actually did get to meet the owner. What was great is he actually made it easy for me to capture content. He said, "Oh, here, why don't you come over here and capture pouring the coffee, with the menus." He made it easy for me. So I definitely recognize that whenever you have, whenever you facilitate the environment to make it easier to capture content, you can capture videos much better.
Gotcha. Well, it's great. Again, everybody follow The Hungry Loner on Instagram. All right, we have one more place that opened up this month called The Henry. And it serves I don't know if this is like a new trend, but it serves coffee in the morning, obviously, but then it stays open late for dinner and cocktails. Do you see that as a new trend in Nashville? It seems like it used to be like, I think Margot opens like 5:00. Like they've, I don't know if, I think through the years they have done lunch, but a lot of restaurants only do dinner service. But I'm seeing more and more places open all day long.
I do see that more of a trend. I think it's to really use this space in a way that captures different crowds at different times of the day. If you can, I do see that a lot more, like especially, even Cafe Babu, for example, they don't offer wine and cocktails yet, but that is something that they will be offering soon. So
the Henry looks like it's a chain restaurant, or they have
several locations.
Right. I see Arizona, California, Florida. Do you know where it first originated from?
Yeah, so they're based out of Phoenix. So Sam Fox, who's a very well-known, successful restaurateur, that's the group that has opened all of these restaurants, not only the Henry, but some other well-knowns in Nashville, Pushing Daisies, 1230 Club. I think in terms of choosing Nashville or deciding to open a Nashville extension here is really just to capitalize on, Nashville's a food city. There's a lot of tourism.
Right.
12th South is a great area that's growing quite a bit. And if you've already had successful ventures here, I think it makes sense to open another location here.
Well, it looks fantastic. Was there something that really stood out to you there?
So I've been twice. So the first time I went, I actually just sat at the bar and I loved it. It is the design itself is Gatsby era-esque.
Ooh.
It's just designed really beautifully. The service was great. The drinks are phenomenal. It's upscale to a point, but it also feels very warm and welcoming and a neighborhood vibe. So I actually really loved it. And then I went back for dinner and I made the mistake of sitting downstairs and not going up to eat in the beautiful up top, like where there's an outdoor patio and a separate bar. And it's stunning upstairs. It's also very beautiful downstairs as well. But I realized I should have been up here anyway. But then the food is phenomenal too. I actually had this Korean prime steak dish. And then they had these horseradish potato au gratin, which is amazing. The scallops are actually cooked perfectly. The food actually really stood out as well. And the bourbon, I'm moving into my bourbon season. So, which is typically what I drink during the winter. And they have a phenomenal selection of bourbon drinks there.
Well, with all these new places, it's kind of shocking how many new places have opened in 1 month here in Nashville. And it just is continuing on. And that's why we're having you, as a contributor to capture all this. But is there a trend that you're seeing across the board here in Nashville?
Restaurants they're really hard businesses in terms of the margins are razor thin. You have increasing prices on real estate, on, food, on labor. So it's interesting. I'm actually seeing a trend where a lot of businesses that are opening are additional locations from either people here in Nashville or other cities are moving here. So I'm actually a little worried for more independent restaurants, and I'm hoping that I'm actually hoping that there's an opportunity for them to continue to thrive. There are still there's a healthy appetite for pop-ups that's still here. I'm still seeing a lot of pop-ups, from local chefs and people who are more local to Nashville, which is great. I think the food scene here is actually also becoming more multicultural. So there's a lot more Asian food than there was before. You're starting to see a little more Middle Eastern places, Mexican. So you're just starting to see, I think, a more diverse food scene than you've seen typically, which is really exciting. Oh, the last one I'll say, I think Nashville loves a new restaurant. And Nashville also loves an immersive experience, which I think is also just a trend you see in dining in restaurants across the board is people don't only want a great meal, they want an experience as part of their dining.
It's always my fear with these new trendy spots that they're going to be super crowded and I'm not going to be able to get in because I'm not really a reservation. I plan things very last minute. Do you recommend making reservations for any? I know the coffee shop, the Cafe Babu, you probably don't need a reservation for coffee shops, but the other two restaurants that you mentioned, would you recommend reservations?
I would because they're new. So and also with Cafe Babu, I learned, I spoke to someone shortly after they opened, there was a line out
yes,
out the cafe. So I do think if it's a new restaurant, yes, you should definitely book a reservation. But so the Henry actually has quite a bit of bar seating. So I think I actually went to dinner recently without making a reservation. So it is possible. I think if they have more seating that's suitable for just kind of walk-ins.
Okay, I know you didn't write about it this month, but Butter Lamp, I have not been yet. And it just made, everybody knows it was on the New York Times, like top 25 restaurants. What are my chances getting in there?
The challenge?
No chance. Just kidding.
I think it's going to be challenging, because yes, they are so popular and they're so amazing, but also because it's getting cold, the outdoor seating is not many people will probably sit outside. So that means everyone's coming inside, which they have pretty limited seating inside. So I would recommend either getting there right when they open around 5:30 or later, after the dinner rush is probably where I would try to target to get in.
Okay, great. That question was more for me than our listeners, but I'm sure other people were thinking that. I'm sure other
people, yes.
Oh, well, I can't wait to see what opens up next month. Thank you so much for being here. And we just love your articles. And again, everybody follow The Hungry Loner on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't you forget, please follow Jen at The Hungry Loner on Instagram. If you enjoy the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles.